and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m. just in case you missed that program.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith, and welcome to today's News at Noon. These are the top stories we are tracking. Government now scrambles to secure experts for gas to shore task force. Days after burying Linden woman in his backyard, a fugitive boyfriend was busy offering reward for her return on Facebook. Meanwhile, COVID-19 restrictions unchanged despite April being deadliest month, and man stabbed to death over cell phone row. Wanted bulletin issued for suspect. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Weak systems of governance and the absence of the rule of law both combine to form the perfect stage for corruption to flourish. As part of our anti-corruption fight at Kaieteur Radio, we invite you to join us every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. as we embark on the most needed quest to remove the tentacles of corruption from our systems. See you then for our latest program called Governance, Corruption and Justice.
And now for the news in detail. 1 week after Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo lamented that the advertisements were already 3 weeks late, the Ministry of Natural Resources has commenced the process of looking to employ at least 4 specialists as part of its Gas to Shore working group. The personnel currently being sought by the ministry include a gas power commercial negotiator and a critical structure value engineer. Additionally, the ministry has advertised for the provision of consulting services in the area of procurement process review, namely oil field services and equipment. The ministry is also looking to secure consultancies for the provision of petroleum data management. And now let's tell you, 3 days after shooting his 20-year-old companion Shawnette Dover in the face, then burying her in a shallow grave in the backyard of his Kansas City Linden home, Shaquan Allen was busy posting numerous heartfelt messages on Facebook, urging citizens to assist him in finding the love of his life. He even went so far to offer a reward to anyone who could provide him with information about her whereabouts. But the veil of innocence, which he used to mask his gruesome actions before the unsuspecting public, was soon removed after police, acting on information from one of Dover's relatives on Friday last, were able to locate the young woman's decomposing body that was buried in a 4-foot grave. Though the discovery has thrown the Dover family into a deep state of emotional distress, it has, however, brought an end to assumptions that the young woman, who was missing for 27 days, was perhaps abducted by another lover. That rumor was fueled in particular by Allen, mere days after his girlfriend was killed. And moving on, as the nation braces itself to observe another month of rising COVID-19 cases, April officially went down as the deadliest month thus far with the virus. In spite of this, the government has not tightened its existing guidelines to protect its citizens. April alone saw a total of 65 deaths, surpassing October 2020, which had 46 deaths and was previously regarded as the deadliest month since the start of the pandemic last March. April also saw a daily average of 2 fatalities and a high influx of infections. In fact, the highest number of daily infections was also recorded in April. On April 23rd, the Health Ministry had reported that Guyana recorded 240 new infections. Yesterday, the Health Ministry reported another death, a 75-year-old female from Region 3 who died while receiving treatment at a medical facility. Her death brings the country's total number of COVID fatalities to 299 and indicates that Guyana will soon touch the benchmark of 300. And moving on, a man was stabbed to death on Saturday with a pair of scissors during an argument he had with an acquaintance over a cell phone. Yesterday, the Guyana Police Force issued a wanted bulletin for that acquaintance and identified him as 29-year-old Rondell Richardson. Now, Richardson is accused of murdering 29-year-old Jamal Adams of Cooper Street, East La Penitence, Georgetown. Adams was stabbed twice, once to his left side chest and a second time to his back, sometime around 15 hours on Saturday. According to a police report, Adams was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital, but succumbed some 20 minutes later while receiving treatment there. Eyewitnesses had told detectives that Adams' death was over a cell phone row. As police ranks continue to hunt for Richardson, they are seeking the public's assistance in these efforts. Anyone who may have vital information that can lead to his arrest or knows his whereabouts can contact police on telephone numbers 227-2603 or 226-6978, 911 or the nearest police station. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, miner stabs sleeping co-worker to death because he got a higher day's pay. Cops arrest a man who made up story about being robbed of car by cutlass bandits, and lover murdered partner because he was unwanted at party. Parcels out belongings before killing self. And Berbetian crushed to death by picking up Region 6 official was driving, and fire destroys home in Linden family for a second time in 1 month. Do stay tuned.
Don't you worry, Guyana, cause we got you. If and Mark and Bharat are here for you. Improving the nation, better education, delivering 20,000 scholarships, and it's all for you. Don't you worry, Guyana, cause we got you. So many opportunities, so many universities, studying all from the comfort of your home, through the Guyana Online Academy of Learning. So get a line and go apply, this will change your life. Don't you worry, Guyana, cause we got you. Don't you worry, Guyana, we're here for you.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. A Venezuelan gold miner is currently in police custody after he allegedly killed his fellow workmate because he got paid a better day's wage than him. While their names were not released by the police up to press time, the killing reportedly took place on Labor Day around 23 hours at Perseverance Back Dam in Region 1. The two men, who were reportedly well known to each other, were at the time working on a mining operation owned by a Brazilian national. An investigation into the killing is ongoing. Meanwhile, police ranks have arrested a Victoria Village man who had them expending resources to investigate a report that he was robbed of his car when all along the man was telling a lie on himself. It is understood that Janelle Doris had told the police that he was robbed by armed bandits on Saturday at Lou Creek Linden Highway. According to a police report, Doris said the robbery occurred around 14 hours at the mentioned location. The man further claimed that he was driving a new model silver grey Allion on the highway when he encountered a blowout. Police subsequently launched an investigation following the report made by Doris, but was later informed via a confession that the armed robbery never occurred. And moving on, investigations by the Guyana Police Force have revealed that the 50-year-old man who stabbed his partner to death on Saturday night did so because she had reportedly told him that he was unwanted at her sister's birthday party. Police also found out that the lover, Lawrence Brummel of Festival City, North Rheinveld, had confessed to killing his partner, 44-year-old Nicola Wilson, and reportedly parceled out his belongings to relatives before killing himself. Wilson, a mother of two and a resident of Durban Street Lodge, was murdered sometime around 19 hours in her home. And now let's tell you Vice Chairman of Region 6 Zamal Hussein is currently out on station bail after the vehicle which he was driving, crushed a man to death. The unfortunate incident occurred on the White Bridge Access Road in Kendall's Village, East Coast, Berbice, Saturday night around 19 hours. The dead man has been identified as 42-year-old Michael Henriquez of number 19 Village, Quarantine, Berbice. Hussein was driving a motor pickup and was maneuvering a turn on the White Bridge Access Road to head in the southerly direction. In doing so, Hussein, who had reversed in a northwestern direction and stopped before proceeding in a southeastern direction, felt the vehicle run over something on the eastern side of the access road. And to wrap things up, let's tell you that a Linden family of 11 has lost everything materially after the 3-bedroom concrete house they lived in was completely destroyed by a fire on Sunday afternoon. But what is all the more saddening is that this is the second time in 1 month that the family has lost their home in DeGrad Avenue, Mackenzie, Linden, by a fire. According to one of the adults, the children, some of whom attend high school, said they smelled a smoky scent from a section of the home. One of the adults subsequently investigated. The odor was emanating from one of the bedrooms that was locked. When they opened it, the room was already engulfed in flames and the family quickly escaped. It is understood that the fire service was summoned, but it was too late to save anything. And now with the time moving on to 12 hours 31, coming up after the break is your COVID-19 update. According to Worldometer, the number of worldwide coronavirus cases has reached 153.8 million, with deaths at 3.2 million deaths and 131.1 million recoveries. Locally, the country has seen 13,518 total cases, with total deaths at 299 and recovery cases at 11,383. Meanwhile, the country has 1,836 active cases with 14 critical. And on that note, we now head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated to being blunt. The PPPC government says the gas to shore project is good for Guyana. But up to this point, it has failed to produce one shred of evidence that proves current and future generations will not be saddled with the most expensive PPPC white elephant of all time. Guyanese, it is time to stand up, raise your voices, and demand transparency and accountability from the government you elected. It is your constitutional right to do so. Do not be cowed into silence, lest you and your children are left shackled to what may very well go down as the greatest debt trap in our nation's history. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and